Hey folks, this is Rainiac, welcoming you to the start of the softwarepublicity.net Let's Play Olympics 2, The Confusing Return to Numbers. And we kick off the festivities this week with Special Cybernetic Attack Team, a game made by Natsume for the NES in 1991. Now in Special Cybernetic Attack Team you have a choice of two playable characters. You can play as the guy, who looks like Mega Man with his helmet off, or this girl, who looks like Samus with her helmet off, and also for some reason, Cabbage in place of her hair. And your ears are not deceiving you, that is actual voice acting in an NES game. That is, if you could hear it over my incessant talking, but that is kind of my job here. I'm sure there has been proper voice acting in other NES games, but if there is, I've yet to play them. Now let's get back to talking about Special Cybernetic Attack Team, shall we? Well, we really should, considering that's kind of my job, for the next 15 minutes anyway. As you can see, it's your typical side-scrolling 2D shooter. You play as a cybernetically enhanced soldier, either Arnold, no jokes please, for a very good reason I'll get to in just a few minutes, or the one we're playing as, Sigourney. There's no actual difference in playable characters, they both play exactly the same. I think Sigourney has a slightly different ending to Arnold, but that's about it. Not that I ever played this far to get to the ending, because, you know, people that know me know that shooters, especially 2D shooters or top-down isometric shooters, and me, really don't mix. Musha was a complete fluke, okay? I am the first to admit it was a fluke. But back to Special Cybernetic Attack Team. It's, as I say, it's kind of like Gradius. We have two satellites orbiting around Sigourney here, and you can actually press the A button to lock them into place. Unfortunately, I can't do that for a very good reason. As is traditional in these LP contests, the challenges have returned, and our challenges this week are 3 in number, as always, and they range from the sublime to the downright ridiculous. The first challenge is that you can only lock your satellites into place once throughout each run, and by run they mean until you game over. The second challenge is a lot harder and caused me to have to re-record this run more times than I care to admit to. I'm not going to say the actual number, but trust me, it was a lot. You have the challenges that you have to get to the end of level 1 without taking a hit. Not game overing, not taking a hit. I know it's level 1, and typically even in shooters, level 1 is quite easy, but trust me, most players are going to get hit at least once. Even particularly competent ones, and as I say, I'm not competent at shooters. This is not anything new to anyone that knows me. You can also collect power-ups such as the laser, and now we've picked up the worst thing in the game, the bomb. And believe me, this thing is the bomb in every sense of the word. Okay, it's really, really powerful because it takes down most enemies in a single shot, but that's about the only advantage that the bomb has. Its shockwave is large and can take out multiple enemies, but the cost is, the fire rate is atrocious. Even if you hold down the button, you only shoot out one bomb every 1.5 seconds, and that's just no good. Here we are at our first boss, and here's where I lock the satellites in for the first and only time during the recording. It's the cause of the Death Star, I think. I'm not quite sure about that, but it's very, very easy. It attacks with a laser beam as its primary weapon. It also launches out these orbs that burst into bullets, which are very easy to avoid. And its final form of attack is to reveal 4 turrets from the ground that fire at you. It's very, very easy to take down, although, again, I got hit more times than I care to mention practicing for it. But as I say, I suck at shooters. This is just, you know, basic common knowledge that I suck at shooters. Into level 2 then, and because it's nothing we've not really seen before in any other shooters, well, let's say it's nothing we've ever seen before, I'm yet to play a game that is similar to Special Cybernetic Attack Team. And actually, in fairness, by the way, the bomb, getting sidetracked for a second, the bomb doesn't actually do anything if you pick it up a second time. It doesn't upgrade your bomb, making it even more useless. And the S is a speed power-up, which is very, very useful. Now, your main hazard in this second stage, the one that's going to hit you more times than not, are those goddamn chain robots. Not only do they have a ridiculous range, and more often than not, they hide out of your range of fire because they're annoying like that, but also, when you kill them, they explode into a million pieces. And unless you're either quick on the fire button or very good at dodging, one of the pieces is going to hit you in the face, and you're going to lose health from it. I mean, if it wasn't for these goddamn chain robots, this stage would be so much easier. I mean, I haven't taken a hit yet, and in some cases it's only by the grace of God himself that that's the case. But don't you worry, those of you that like to see me do terribly at video games, you'll get your chance soon enough. My hubris is about to catch up with me in the most hilarious way possible. Now, I actually started to talk about the challenges for this week, but very stupidly left out the third one like a complete and utter dummy. The third one is the most ridiculous challenge of the lot. As you may have seen at the title sequence, this game goes by an acronym, but I didn't refer to it by the acronym, and it's a very good reason for that, because that's our third challenge. The third challenge is that if you refer to this game at any time in the 15 minutes, you can't use its acronym, and I'm not even naming the acronym, you can look up the start of the video yourself and find it out, or you'll lose the point for this challenge. All the challenges are only 1 point, but because of my OCD-ness when it comes to bonus points in these contests, I'm going to try and collect as many of them as I possibly can. I did pretty good in the first and only contest I ever did, where I got nearly all the challenges. And the only ones that I didn't get were the ones that I couldn't get because they only went to one person. But bragging about my EP aside, yeah, the third challenge, you can only refer to this game as Special Cybernetic Attack Team. If you refer to it by its acronym, then the challenge is null and void. This is quite a short stage, and I've not exactly done it any favours by not talking much about it, but really, what is there to talk about this stage? And the R is another power-up that's very, very useful. It just replenishes health. I guess it stands for recovery. Our second boss, then, and the best way to describe this is like a giant interactive game of Snake. We all know Snake. It's that game that you play on mobiles when you're bored and want to pass time. Only in the version of Snake that I played, the Snake never fought back with ballistic missiles, because that's what this boss does to defend itself against your attacks. Now, if I could lock my satellites into position, then this would be even easier. But of course I can't do that, or I'll lose the achievement, goddamn you fat Kakashi and Decoy Octopus. But once you know what you're doing, just hang around in the middle here and just shoot the snake's head whenever it rears out of one of these 6 holes. And soon enough, the snake will take too much damage and die in a heap of explosions and fireworks, and that's it, and to run away from me. Not doing so bad, but then again, these 2 stages, once you know what they're doing, are easy. The next stage is anything but easy. Here we are at stage 3 then, and it sure looks quite run-of-the-mill now, right? Well, keep thinking that, because in a minute, the mood is about to change. Also, I picked up the wave power-up, probably the best gun in the game. It kind of reminds me of the wave beam from Metroid 2, and that ominous alarm beeping cannot be good. Nor can the sudden onslaught of enemies rushing blindly to you from the sides of the screen. And sure enough, the alarm stops, and speed goes into hyperdrive. And this is probably the toughest stage of the game, at least the ones that I've played. Slight spoiler there for my progress throughout the game. Now at this point in the game, Freezing Inferno would probably be in his idea of heaven, because this stage is nothing more than a giant vertical shaft, and we know how much he likes them in the games that he plays. However, while it's his idea of heaven, it's my idea of hell, or at least purgatory, which isn't much better than hell, but at least there's a lot less fire to worry about. We have a mini-boss here, which is this sort of gun droid that just bounces off the walls. If you were playing carefully like I wasn't there, you would not take a hit. Later on, the gun droid will show up with a vengeance. That little bleeping sound effect simply means that I regained a hit, and then was so happy about that, I decided to immediately blow it by running into the nearest guy. But seriously, maybe I'm exaggerating how bad this stage is for comedic effect, but look at that. Enemies coming out of the walls at random. This is where the shmup disease, as I like to call it, kicks in. So many things on the screen, not enough time to shoot them all. And these things are just easy. 8 of them will appear around you, but if you just shoot 1 or 2 of them, then go to where they were, the rest of them will charge in on themselves and destroy themselves like complete idiots. And this really is a really nasty move on the part of the developers. I can't say what I would usually call it, for reasons I'm just coming to. 1 wave power-up, 7 bomb power-ups, and if you get the bomb at any time in this level, you're basically done, because the shockwave that the bomb generates is useless. It pushes back the debris that you're supposed to shoot constantly to stop it hitting you. back 2 or 3 pixels, which isn't nearly enough, and with so much coming at you, the bomb isn't going to do anything to help you. You might notice that I've been trying to stay away from some of my more unusual commentary, and there's a good reason for that, because this LP contest, whatever you want to call it, we had 6 of them now, believe it or not. I certainly can't. Doesn't time fly when you're not having much fun at all, because you're trying to avoid guys coming out of the freaking woodwork. Yeah, something new for this contest. Anti-points. If that doesn't sound particularly beneficial, that's because they're not. You can actually lose a point if you do something or say something in your video. This week we have 2 anti-points. You cannot make any scatological jokes. I'm not going to elaborate any further than that for fear of losing the point. And by the way, return the gun droids, 2 of them, but here I actually did alright and destroyed them all. And the second anti-point is you cannot make any reference to any movies starring the man who Arnold is the namesake of, nor you can't make an impersonation of someone, my god, nor make an impersonation, I've done it again, nor do an impersonation of that actor. If you do, you forfeit 1 point. Fortunately, we're playing a Sigourney, so that's no problem. And don't worry, I will not tell that alien to get away from her, you bitch, because I'm more original like that. Oh wait! For all that I'm mocking the anti-points, I actually think they're a really good idea. I don't think the competitors in the previous contests have been guilty of this particular problem, but certainly other LPers on YouTube do rely on the same sort of humour and commentary, and it gets really stale, so if the anti-points prevent that from happening in the contest, then I'm all for them. Fortunately, the hyperspeed travel up the giant vertical shaft is finally at an end, and we're now into deep space. Now, as I said earlier, and kind of interrupted myself to say, I can't think of many games that this reminds me of, but perhaps if I had to pick one, it would be Forgotten Worlds, the Capcom NES shooter for the arcade that was also released for the NES. But no time for that, because now we have to fight a mini-boss, which is just 2 laser tubes, I guess. And now we're travelling into the trenches of the Death Star. I have no idea. That's the second time I've referenced the Death Star, by the way, just in case you weren't keeping score. Although, I don't think that actor I'm not allowed to reference was in that film. I think I'm alright. We're now coming up to our boss, which is those laser tubes now shooting blue balls of death, and a red thing in the middle that shoots laser beams. And if you want to beat it, this is how you do it. You go in the middle, you go up and down, you play chicken, and you shoot it till it explodes. Done and done, except not, because it has a second form, and this thing is a lot harder. It shoots missiles from the top and bottom turrets, while the middle thing shoots blue orbs that split into pieces. And this is where my great run came to an end. Right about now, because I couldn't see the the ball hit me, or bullet, I guess. And it's kind of funny, actually. When I first beat the first form of the boss, I was celebrating, like, in real life, and pumping my arms up and down like the end of GoldenEye with Boris, going, I am invincible! And of course, just like in that film, hubris bit me on that part of my anatomy I'm not allowed to mention for fear of losing a point. And because of that, we're hot-shotted all the way back to the start of the giant vertical shaft, and unfortunately, as you can probably work out, because this is such a well-thought-out, put-together stage, and the sarcastic music just exploded, it's too long for me to do anything else other than travel up it and fail to get to the boss again, so that's as far as I got during this run. But I'm not too unhappy, because this was by far the best run I did throughout the practice sessions and throughout recording sessions, and there were more than you see on the screen in front of you right now. So, given that I'm not that good at shooters, I don't think I did too badly for myself. I'm sure there'll be people out there that killed this game first try for this contest, but I am not one of them. Now, as I mentioned, this is the 6th contest that we've done, believe it or not, over on SoftwarePixel.net, and the second one that I have personally participated in. Well, sort of. I actually participated in 3, including this one. And here's where the mind-blowing reveal comes in, because I was one of the mystery judges on the last contest! Ha-ha! He said, fooling nobody in particular. No, seriously, I was one of the judges. So now, decoying back Kakashi, if you thought back the judging was harsh, you have a chance to pay me back in spades. Please don't do that. But no, the 6th contest. Now, usually with these contests, we begin with Contra, But because we ran out of games that were easy to play in the Contra series, and by easy to play I mean emulate, because we all be pirates, just saying, they've picked this game instead, and actually I don't think it's that bad of a substitute. Despite the fact that I was kind of ranging about the unfair parts of the game, this is pretty good, and even though I don't like shooters, I'm certainly grateful to Decoy and Fatike, if I can call him that. I don't think he'll mind. I'm certainly grateful to those two for making me aware of this game's existence, and with that, the 15 minutes are well and truly up. I'll see you next time for week 2. Till then, TTFN.